What is up, everybody? Welcome to season 2, episode 21. We're going to talk about, just about at the midway point. We're just going to kind of see where the conversation takes us. I want to get out of the way some of our sponsors. So first off, I want to say thank you to Pensive Technology. So what Pensive Technology did for me is they, ran Ethernet, ran a internet out here. They also do security, a bunch of other things at the house. So Pensive Technology, asked for Chris over there. He's awesome. And the next, I'm going to talk about Yards. You know what? Yards, Philly Standard, great beer. Unfortunately, Schwarber's out right now, so there's going to be no free beers for a little bit, but he's supposedly back right after the All-Star break. Drink beer made in Philly, made by Yards. It's just a good idea. Guys, I wanted to start off. I spent a lot of time today reviewing video of Ranger Suarez. I was comparing, his previous starts with this one to see if I saw anything different. And I think that I'm going to be the first one that breaks this because I haven't seen it anywhere, and I want to get your take on it. Specifically Dugan. John too, of course, but after you understand where I'm going with this, you'll know why, Dugan, you're a little bit better for this. So, you know what? His fucking wife and kids, man. This dude just got to worry about baseball. He's got to worry about, what's he got to fucking do, what time the kids go in, who's making dinner. No, I don't want to fucking boggle to mind Ranger Suarez. He's out there looking a little bit tense. His wife may have got mad at him before then. Listen, man, fuck them kids. You know what? You just can't do it, Ranger. I don't want to say this, but, just send them back. They can come back after the season, but we need you right now. Guys, what's your thoughts on this? Have you thought about it? Interesting.
I have 4 kids. They're all older now. They're not the same age as Rangers kids. But I remember what it was like back then and how hectic the house could be and, getting pulled in 10 different directions. So I'm sure it's upset his routine, for sure. He probably lived like a bachelor life before that and had his set times to do different things, and now that schedule's all thrown off. I also don't think he's been the same pitcher since he got hit with that line drive. I think that's affected him too. So you may have 2 things going on. He may have a little bit of an arm injury that he's working through, and he also may have a little mental thing going on at home and trying to learn how to balance that because first time in his career he's ever had his family here. So that could put a lot of pressure on you. And it could change a lot of things mentally, physically. You might not be sleeping as much. You might not be eating as much, maybe a little more fast food because he's got the kids around and ordering pizza, instead of eating a healthy meal.
I need a water, Daddy. Say goodnight twice. Put my stuffy underneath me. I don't have my blanket the right way. You're not doing it like Mommy. And Rangers, I'm in bed by 9 o'clock, man. And the kids out there fucking shit up. So, Liam may be a good luck charm. I don't know. Ranger's kid is super cute, but shit. Great men.
Yeah. Might be a little. Hopefully, it's just an adjustment period, and he gets settled back in, and when he turns back into Ranger again.
Yeah. The other thing I kind of wanted to talk about, the idea for the show was kind of like predictions and what we thought. So I want to put 3 things out there, and we'll talk about them separately because I can't think of 3 things at once. You guys are all Polish. What is your biggest surprise of the year so far? And it doesn't have to be Phillies, John.
Stephen Kwan. You were talking about it last week. Where does dude? I mean, he was already a pretty good outfielder and all, and he had a decent bat, but it wasn't a lot of them that knocked your socks off. This year he's on a tear. It's sadly he's probably not going to even make the All-Star game, which sucks. Which we touched on last week too with the fan voting shit.
Yeah.
But, he's him and the team because that division's always wonky every year. It's always a couple teams that are not great records. They might be just hovering over 500 or not really great playing the best ball. but they're just better than the other team. And they're fighting with another team. It's usually like the Twins and the Guardians or whatever, but they're pretty much trying to run away with that division. They're playing great ball this year.
Yep.
They've come out of nowhere. It's a big difference from last year. They're getting great pitching, great hitting. Like they don't even miss Shane Bieber. So
yeah, or Justin.
Yeah,
that's his name, right? Justin Bieber, the Biebs.
The Biebs.
Chris, what's your surprise of the season so far? You're on mute, Chris. No good. All right. Well, I'll go ahead and we'll see if you can just yell out, Chris. We'll bring you on. So I guess, I was thinking Philly centric, and it's Christopher Sanchez because, like, honestly, at the beginning of the year, I was like, I don't want this dude in the rotation. Like, even a little bit earlier, I was like, you know what? Bump Spencer Turnbull. Bump Sanchez and put Turnbull in if we have to play Walker. So I think Sanchez has just been, just dramatically better than I ever even remotely thought he could be. Which, he always had that changeup, but with changeup pitchers, it's, it's difficult because, and it is true, if his changeup's off, he's off, period, end of story. His fastball's great, but like everything's off the changeup.
Yeah.
So my opinion would be, going off of Sanchez first, and then baseball wise, like, you back, Chris? Can you hear us? Can we hear you?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes. Yeah, we're good now.
Okay.
All right.
Sorry.
No, it's all good. The other one I'm thinking is, like, I'm really surprised that the Oakland A's are leaving Oakland and, like, nothing's being done about it. Like, they're just going to Las Vegas or wherever. They're not going to Las Vegas. They're going to fucking Sacramento or something. I just think it's a shame. Like, this franchise from Philly to KC to Oakland to Sacramento to Las Vegas. I just think that that's, like, a huge surprise to me. I thought that they would have, like, changed something. They would have just kept them there. I think that there's, I think that the Oakland fans are ravenous enough, but they're like, you know what? Fuck it. If you're not going to put a product out there and the stadium's falling down, I mean, the only person that wants to go there is Steve Mould. And then touching on Steve Mould. So Steve Mould today is like, hey, I'm on Let's Make a Deal. It gets fucking preempted for something. I don't know what the hell was preempted for. But you know what? I was like, I was going to pull an Uncle Badload and get on the phone and dial channel 10 up. What are you doing down there? Like, my friend's on. But Chris, what's your biggest surprise of the year?
So mine is actually, it goes back to our predictions. And I had the Chicago Cubs really challenging in the NL Central, and they stink. I am shocked at how poorly the Cubs have played this year. I thought they made that late push last year to get within shouting distance of the wild card. After the All-Star break and the trade deadline, they looked like they were primed to come out this season and be one of the front runners in that division. And they're terrible. I think they're 11 games back. With those, and they're getting great pitching. They got the Japanese guy who's really pitching well, but they just shocked me how poorly they've played. I thought this was kind of resurgence. They went out and got Counsell as the manager, and I thought that was going to be kind of a catalyst for them to really be a strong team in the Central this year, and it's just hasn't shown up yet. I don't know if it will this season.
Do you remember a manager not getting fired and going to another team in the same division ever?
Never.
Like,
never.
The Brewers are like, fuck Craig Counsell, man.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and they're in first place without him, so it's working, whatever they decided.
Yep.
Yeah.
Going to go back to you, Chris, and we'll kind of go back the other way. What's your biggest disappointment or negative surprise this season?
Biggest disappointment or negative surprise this season? Wow, that's a good question. I really think. I mean, I'm going to go with the Phillies. I'm disappointed in Bryson Stott. I really thought Stott, like the way he ended last year, I thought he was a guy that's going to be a perennial 295 to 310 hitter, challenge for batting titles, and he looks lost at times at the plate this year. He goes on little streaks where he'll get a couple hits and his average will move a couple points up, but then he'll go back in the tank for a few games and his average goes back down. But he looked indecisive to me at the plate. A lot of like these little check swings on ball pitches that are right there. I don't know if the comments about him not walking a lot are now in his head and he's trying to be more patient, more of a patient hitter, and he's taking too many good pitches. And when he gets into pitchers counts, he's not hitting like he did last year where he was a great 2-strike hitter and putting the ball in play and getting hits. That you kind of live by that and die by that when you're that kind of hitter. So he's been a little bit of a disappointment for me. I mean, his defense has been great all year, but his offense, I think, has been less than stellar. And now with Schwarber, Harper, and Realmuto all three out, they really need him to start contributing and pick it up and be a leader with the stick.
Yeah. John, what's yours?
Mine is actually a free agent acquisition. Whit Merrifield. We when we got that news and we heard about that, we were like, interesting. Well, I was like, oh, interesting, because number one, it's typically a guy you didn't think the Phillies would pick up, but you were glad. You were like, oh, that could be like a nice little piece to help us down the road, like extra outfielder, extra infielder, nice little bat. But he's done nothing. He's been lost at the plate, lost in the field sometimes. He's barely playing. I mean, but he will be playing more often now, and that could be a gift or a curse. And it's been a curse so far with our guys banged up. But I thought that was going to be a bigger acquisition, and it's wound up to be pretty much. And I heard on the radio some people aren't expecting him to be around at the deadline, even maybe being cut or traded or something. I mean, at this point, with how we need an outfielder. We might even need a fourth outfielder at the deadline. Possibly, who knows? I wouldn't mind moving him somehow. It's only $8 million. You know what I mean? We had the club option for next year anyway. So he's been pretty much one of my disappointments, other than Dugan picks got stopped. But yeah, Whit Merrifield.
Yeah, I understand. That's a good one. My one, like, I wish I was like more, it's not even politically correct. I think it's having tact. So when I was playing, I hated someone on the field more than the opposing team. I fucking hate umpires. I just hate them. I don't like them. I don't trust them. My biggest disappointment are the fucking home plate umpires. They are fucking terrible globally across the MLB. It's fucking atrocious how bad they are. I mean, Zach Wheeler is someone who would never say anything, and he was like, that blown third strike call, like, cost us the fucking game. It cost us 4 months. He never does that. They've just been so bad. So I don't know if it's the box that's like making us or me listening to LA and him just like absolutely snapping out on the umpires. Thank God he only does half of the game so far. Because like I'm watching and I'm like, Jesus Christ, the umpires are brutal. A close second would be like, I think the Phillies management, and I know this might come as a surprise, and I don't even know if it's Middleton. I honestly don't know who I'm going to blame this on. Baseball's not a business to us listening and us talking here. Baseball is something we love, we have a passion for. If it wasn't a business, there's no fucking way that Taijuan Walker pitches. Like, yeah, maybe Turnbull would have got hurt, but if it wasn't $20 million he's getting paid, he's getting bumped, and he should have gotten bumped. And I hate that that's still part of the game. Like, they don't want to admit wrong, right? They being Middleton or whoever the hell, Sam Fold, whatever the fuck he does. I have no idea what this dude does. But I think there's a point to where, and to John's point, Witt and Walker, like, at some point you got to be like, all right, this isn't working out. Like, we have to cut our losses and we have to like do something better, do something different, or give these other guys a chance. Now, there might not be that starter, but every other team can bring up a starter in AA and they, get a few wins, pitch a few innings, and who knows what happens. So I'm disappointed with both of those, but the umpires, they've just been brutal. I mean, when do you notice the umpires as much as we have? I think that tells you that there's like such a problem. And I hate taking the human element out of the game, but their balls and strike calls are just atrocious.
Yeah.
Falling in love with these pitchers, and kind of like if a guy threw three, if Gregory Soto goes and throws 3 pitches way out of the fucking zone, and then one's borderline, there is no goddamn chance they're giving him a strike call. Never. So
yeah, my problem is, and I know the box may not be perfect. I don't get too pissed off about the ones that are like nicking the edge of the box and it's called a ball or it's called a strike. It's the ones when it's clearly in the middle of one of the 9 squares and it's called a ball, and it's like, what? Like, that couldn't be more perfect, that pitch. It's in dead center of the box. Like, it's not on the edges, it's not a fringe pitch. And going back to what you said about Wheeler, not only did it cost the Phillies the game, but Schwarber might not have gotten hurt because that inning would have been over and that ball would have never been hit to left field. And Harper may not have gotten hurt because he may not have had to bat in the 9th inning of the game because the Phillies may have been ahead. So not only cost us the game, it might cost us 2 of our best players too, by one bad call, an obvious strike. And I mean, it has a trickle down effect when you make a bad call, and it was obvious in that game.
Yeah, just absolutely brutal. All right, so I'm going to take a pause and do some shilling of our stuff here. So we have merch on drunkbillsfans.com. We're doing 15% off from now until July 4th at noon. The code is capital JULY, the number 4, a capital TH. So 15%. You have to buy 2 or more items, and it's off the entire purchase. So I wanted to get that out there. And guys, I'm going to go to some comments quick. So this is a nice surprise. Nancy, we appreciate you tuning in again. One of our stalwart fans, and she gave us a good evening and fuck the Mets. Followed very, very shortly by Bud with another FTM. And then a couple minutes later, we get Tracy with fuck the Mets and fuck Bobby Bonilla. Is there nothing better than waking up and looking at your memories either on Drunk Phil's Fans or your personal and know it's been a day? July 1st, it is one of the greatest feelings. And I hope the Dodgers have one of these with Ohtani.
Ohtani, yeah.
Yeah. And we got 11 more, too. It was like 11 at 2035.
Yeah. Sanchez has been a great surprise. So he was, kind of my surprise. And then, so John and I go to the Union games together. Well, we used to until I said, fuck it, I'm not fucking going anymore. I'm just not going anymore. So I'm not going because they don't give a shit. And I'm not going to waste my time down in fucking Chester waiting 2 hours in the parking lot to get the fuck out. You know what? Fuck the Union. So, now that I got that off my chest, but I'm really pissed off at the Union. It's a fucking disgrace. They are the worst run team in the fucking league. It's horrendous. And they might be the Union may be the Oakland of, the MLS. Oakland really doesn't give a shit. Like, I don't think they've done anything. They haven't even painted a guardrail like in the place. Like, it's a debacle. So Douglas had the Cubs winning it, and he thought Council would help him. So Chrissy, Douglas is kind of feeling the same thing here.
Yeah.
Francesca gave us a hello. Nancy hopes the Cubs stink this week, so let's keep that rolling. I was looking at airfare because I was like, you know what? Like, maybe I'll just fucking drop everything and go to like Chicago. It's crazy. Like the Cubs, and it's from here to whatever ORD is. I don't remember which one it is out there, O'Hare or the other one, Midway. It was a fucking outrageous amount. But then I was like, all right, I fly American, so let me check out Atlanta. Yo, going from here to Atlanta, that's an American hub, it was fucking outrageous. And I'm like, who the fuck wants to go to Atlanta? I can understand you want to go to Chicago, I guess. But I was like, I expected like Atlanta to be like, I don't know, 150, $200. But no, it was literally like almost 4 figures. And I was like, all right, fuck it, the garage it is, you know? So I'm not doing that. Desmond, I'm telling you, these kids are dragging us down. Ranger, you gotta get your shit together, man. And then Francesca also agrees, about Chris and Stotts. But then Douglas is, Merrifield is I don't even know what this is, but I assume he's going to do the C word, but I don't know. I'm assuming it. Kelsey, we missed you. Where have you been? Were you, locked up? Anything you want to tell us? We're here to help. We haven't heard from you maybe in a couple of weeks, and we were talking about you. I guess it was on last podcast or the one before. So thanks for tuning in. I didn't know a podcast was happening tonight. What up, DPF fam? So this is a fucking problem. If Steve Mold doesn't know a fucking podcast is going on, like one of our biggest fans, and it's like, is Facebook fucking us? Does anyone know we have a podcast? Jesus.
Boo, Steve.
This isn't your fault. This is more, but yeah, boo you. I mean, you need to know better. Merrifield is not actually who they made him to be. I think they sold us on Merrifield 5 years ago, or we remembered Merrifield 5 years ago, hitting 340 with 40 doubles and playing.
He was an all-star last year. He was an all-star. Yeah. Trailed off in the second half, but he had an all-star first half.
Hopefully he reverses that this year and has a good second half. If he's here. Yeah. If he's here.
Yeah. So I guess Kelsey's I thought she was cool with us, but it looks like she's trolling. Kelsey, we have more fucking watchers than you could fucking imagine. If you think it's only 2, John's watching, Chris is watching, and I'm watching. We got at least 3, so fucking beat it. Good evening, fine DPFers. I'll be wearing my DPF tank and powder blue jersey on Sunday, right behind the Phil's dugout. Oh, Julie, that's awesome. Send us some pictures. We'll put it up, and hopefully you'll get on the on the television as well. So that's really cool. We appreciate that. Then the last one, we're going to go back to Doug. I didn't know it was in either. I just happened to open the app and saw you talking. Yeah, so this is a fucking problem, man.
Yeah.
It's a fucking problem. Facebook just and that's our way to get it out there. We set up these, but honestly, maybe we should post it fucking 900 times. Fuck the Mets.
Yeah.
We're expecting people to know, and then they're like, oh wow, you have a podcast. That's cool. What's DPF on Tap? And I'm like, oh my god, I want to fucking off myself when I hear that.
Well, it's like anything else with Facebook. Sometimes we get a million views. Sometimes we get 100 views. It's like they love us.
We have no idea.
Facebook.
Yeah. If we're not paying money, they're if they're not making money or we're not paying for an ad, they're fuck off. Or any events, this is an event. They're fuck it. The events are, we don't care. Even though it keeps them on Facebook. But whatever. I mean, Facebook has been good for us, but also Facebook is not great because it does some really bad things. And that part of it's frustrating. Guys, I don't want to see Schwarber in left field ever. Why was he out there? Can someone explain it to me?
I heard. Well, who's the one? I don't know if Mike said it. Somebody said they wanted to get they want to keep Turner in a lot. They didn't want to rest Turner or something, and want to keep his bat in the lineup, so they put him DH, which I didn't understand that.
I think they went a little right-handed heavy too, because they kept Turner in the lineup and they put Sosa at short, so they were a little right-handed heavy. So I think the only lefties in the lineup that they were Schwarber and Harper to start the game, and I think it was against a lefty starter. So to keep his bat in and to keep Turner's bat in, they rolled the dice, and Yeah, he made a nice running catch in the gap in that game.
Yeah.
And then he just pulled up lame coming for that single.
Yep.
Yeah. I never want to see him out there again. I'm with you, Chris. I heard that on the radio and on and I seen it on social media too. Everybody's like, "Whoa, Schwarber left. This ain't last year." Like, we don't want to see him running around, balls bouncing over his head. And I mean, he did lose a little weight, but he still is not fast at all. So he's not. He's
I
not
saw
great
a quote
out there.
from Thompson that says it won't be his last time out there.
Oh, it might be his last game managing.
In spring training, they talked about him playing 2 times a week out there. So I'm glad it didn't turn out like that. I think that was only his second or third game he's played in left field all season. So if they do like that, maybe once a month, you throw him out there, I'm okay with that. But no, any more than that is, it's hurting the team at that point. The defense is suffering. So
yeah. I was thinking about when you go to restaurants and you have a bad experience, you're more apt to go on and do a review or a Yelp review, or definitely not go back, right? And I was thinking how about Rob Thompson? I was trying to think, and I'm not fucking around, guys. Tell me if you can name something. Name one time where he made a decision and you're like, wow, that was really a smart decision. Am I forgetting it? Because I'm not lying. I'm I can't think of one.
A smart decision out of the box, or it ended up being a smart decision because it worked out?
Well, I'll take either, I guess, because I think you're more a fan of his, not that you are, than I am, because I'm I think they win in spite of him.
I don't disagree with that, but I would say I thought I didn't agree back in the playoff game last year, Ranger against the Braves, when he took him out after the 4th inning, when he was kind of cruising, and it ended up being a mix and match bullpen game, and I think they used about 8 or 9 guys in that game out of the bullpen, but it worked. They won the game 2-1 or whatever it was.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it was good moves or he just got lucky with the moves that he made that day. But it seemed like every button he pushed that day worked. And that's not always the case with Topper. I think there's times where he stays with a starter too long or pulls a starter too fast. I just don't think he has a great feel for when to go to the bullpen. And the thing I hate the worst is that those guys are coming in out of the bullpen and they got to face 3 batters. If that first batter gets on or he's wild, why are we not getting the guy up right away? And as soon as that third batter's done, boom, bring in it, make a change, and don't let the guy blow up and then start warming up. Someone now he's facing 5 and 6 batters without good stuff. That's one of my biggest complaints with Thompson. But you can't. It's hard to argue with the results, man. They've won ever since he's been here. Haven't won the World Series, obviously, and they lost a couple playoff games, I think, on decisions that he made, and it kind of reminded me of Fregosi. Last year, Kimbrel was the closer, and he was going to bring Kimbrel in the games to close, like Fregosi used to bring Mitch in. Regardless of what the situation was, Mitch is the closer. We're bringing Mitch in, and I think that bit both of them in the ass at times.
So, Chris, if Bruce Bochy is the Phillies manager, do we win the World Series in one of the last 2 years?
I think so.
That's it, right?
I do think so. Yeah, I do think so.
That's it.
Yeah,
that's he's like a general. He's
although last year, you can blame the bats as much as you can blame the bullpen. They went cold 4, 5, 6, 7. They didn't hit shit. In those 3 games. Not much a manager can do about that. I didn't like that he kept Bohm in the 4-hole when he was struggling so bad throughout that entire series. I thought it was time to shake up that lineup a little bit, but it's hard to argue with results, even though they probably could be a little bit. We could have had a couple bigger wins, but they win under them. So you got to give them at least that credit. And you can second guess a manager every decision they make. From the second starting lineup comes out, you can start second guessing them. And he'll be right sometimes. We'll be right sometimes.
If you gave him any positive points, I didn't listen, Chris. I think you said no, he didn't. He just got lucky.
Yeah, I don't. I think it's.
I think that's about right.
I think it's more. I think it's more. I'm with you, Chris, a little bit on that part. I think it's more he makes decisions and he winds up getting lucky, and it winds up shaking out more than just off strategy or whatever. My thing with him is like what Dugan was saying with not having anybody warming up. Like he does that so many times, and I'm like, where is the guy warming up? Like this dude's getting killed, and he's about to get killed even more. Like hurry up, because he's got to face the three batters, like Dugan was saying. But also, he has a habit of either leaving a pitcher in an inning too long, and then the next guy comes in and or that guy gets killed, and then the relief is like cleaning up, like trying to mop up after him, or vice versa. Vice versa, and the reliever comes in and gets killed. So sometimes he doesn't know that middle point where to cut it off, when like the perfect time to take a guy out is, like managing the pen wise. Yeah. But my thing with him is when he first came on the scene, it was after Girardi got fired. Oh, I love Topper. It's Topper we trust and all. Right now, I'm like, I get frustrated with him more than I don't. And also, my thing is with him is they play hard. They all love him, and they all play hard for him. So, if that's why we're winning, then so be it. Like, we're not losing games, but it still bothers me a lot of the stuff he does.
There's that emotional intelligence part of it, right? Like maybe he can handle a locker room or let them be the guys and not have these strict rules. And so there is value to that, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So the next thing I wanted to talk about is like looking at not more trade prospects, but I don't think Brandon Marsh can be a Philly and play every day. I thought he could. I looked at his numbers. The dude just can't hit left-handers. I don't think that's ever going to change unless, and I don't really want that where they're, have a right-handed player out there, then he plays against lefties. I just think it's like a disaster. Like, or is it Rojas and him shuffle around in center field and, you get someone in left for something, but I don't think Marsh is the answer. He's going to be coming up on like having to pay this dude or having to let him walk. So I'm more apt to say, you know what, let's trade him. I think that he would be a trade because they're going to want Aiden Miller and Painter and Crawford and all of those people. But I think they're going to want a major league ready guy who's still young. And I think that's Marsh. Any thoughts on this, guys?
Yeah. I don't disagree, Chris. I think the big thing with Marsh is, and I think people get caught up in the persona of Marsh and the beard and the pouring water on people and the fun, stay loose and sexy, Brandon Marsh.
Yeah.
In reality, he is what he is. He's a 250 hitter that can't hit lefties, doesn't hit for much power. He's a very good defensive left fielder, an okay defensive center fielder.
Yeah.
He's a piece, but he's not a piece for the Phillies. And I agree with you. I know, you had 93. There were a couple platoons with Bill Thompson and Incaviglia, and right, you had Wes Chamberlain and Jim Eisenreich, and that team made those kind of platoons work.
They were older guys, though, right, Chris? Like they were older guys.
Yeah,
like they weren't young dudes. So
yeah, I think what's Marsh, 26. He's still young, and that gives him value.
Yep.
In and of itself and his defense.
Yeah.
So if he's a guy that is going to get you the big fish at the trade deadline, if you include him, I would lean towards doing it.
He's immediate platoon or versus righties only. He cannot ever bat against a lefty. Statistics wise, 143 this season. 143. Terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was with you for a while. To your point where you thought I was, sticking up for him and rooting for him, like maybe he would play every day and left, or they would figure that out. but it's just not happening. And like you guys already pointed out the points on that. I think you could even include. I'll even go a step farther. You can include like Pache or Rojas in that trade too, because Pache has no options. So you might as well get something for him.
Yeah.
Rojas is still young yet. I would keep Rojas, but I mean, if you want to put him back in, if we get a guy at the deadline, and like we got our outfield filled out, you could stash Rojas at AAA. He's still young, but Pache, get something for him because he's got no options. You don't want to just cut him and then So I could see both of them being involved in a trade or separate trades, whatever Dave decides to do.
Yeah. So moving into the trade talk, guys, like with, 3 of our guys out, do you think that they're going to preemptively strike and make some type of deal a little bit earlier than they thought? Or do you think they're like, we can play 500 with this ragtag bunch. We're still going to be 20 games up. They're, 20 games above 500, 25 games above 500. And we'll see, because if we buy now, we're going to have to pay high. They know we're in trouble. What's your thoughts on, do you think they're going to trade? And do you think it's going to be sooner or later?
Go ahead, John.
I think, go ahead, dude.
No, go ahead, John. Go ahead.
I'm thinking, with the injuries, I thought they would wait till the deadline, but now that we got guys hurt and like we can't play with this lineup too much longer. Like you have to, I think by the All-Star break, maybe like somewhere around hovering around that, maybe right before it, right after it, maybe. But I think like if they're going to do that, I think they're going to preemptive strike, but that would be my preferred area around that time, either before or after the All-Star break.
What do you think they're doing? Outfield and pitching?
Definitely definitely get an outfielder, a starting outfielder somehow, and get an extra bullpen arm. Whether I don't know. I mean, we already talked about they're probably not going to get a closer, but I mean, if they do, they do. But some of these teams want too much for their closer, so I see them getting a bullpen arm, and you need a starting outfielder, like somehow from some team.
Well, now there's the Walker. Is Mercado gonna figure things out? I think Turnbull's done, honestly. I just what he has hurt, I think he's done. So that dude's not coming back.
Yeah.
And I don't think they put them out.
Yeah, they jerked him around a little bit, and I don't know how many innings he had in that arm anyway, with all the injuries he's had. But I think if they're going to make a move early, it's going to be a minor move. I think it'll be like a stopgap move. It won't be a guy that's going to be a permanent fixture. It might be like a guy that they can, bolster their bench with a little bit and spot start them. I think they sit and wait. I think they trust their rotation enough to keep them afloat through these injuries until these guys come back. Like you said, Chris, play 500 or a little above. You're still going to be 7-8 games up on the Braves. The Braves haven't caught any fire where they're getting on a 10 or 12 game win streak. And we're going to play the Braves, in the near future. So you can see what if this, just hang with the Braves, hang with the Dodgers, beat the Cubs. Let your rotation do what they do. I mean, all even Rangers game this week wasn't, they were in it, they came back and won it. Wheeler pitched great. Nola pitched pretty good till he didn't. Sanchez, I was at that game. I mean, he was unbelievable. So I think you have, with the off day, I don't know what they're doing with the rotation. Are they skipping Mercado and go back to Wheeler, or because they can, he'll be on normal rest.
I think that's smart, right? Because Mercado has like probably an inning where he's going to be done, and I don't know, if it's 50, 30, whatever it is.
He'll be almost an opener at that point,
Yeah.
But I think they're going to trust their rotation and trust that they can keep their head above water long enough till these guys come back. Like I said, maybe a minor move to bolster the bench somehow, and or a spot guy, but the big move will be coming, and I think it's outfielder, and I think it's bullpen. I think those are the two spots that outfield definitely. I think that's got to be the number one priority.
Yeah.
even with Casty hitting a little bit, in June, he had a nice June. If he can keep that up, then it's not as glaring a need, but you're not getting much out of Rojas. And like you said, Marsh is, 250 hitter. He is what he is.
Yeah. So just like a personal note, when are you guys done like your regular jobs? Are you done Wednesday? Are you working Friday? Like, what are you doing? And like, do you have any plans for the time, the weekend you're off and 4th of July and all that?
I'm done Wednesday, off Thursday, off Friday.
Yep.
Christy and I will be attending Sig and Alex's barbecue on 4th of July, our first time being able to make it. So I'm really excited.
Oh, nice.
Finally, we don't have a softball tournament to go to. Other than that, I'll just be hanging around, probably barbecue at home a little bit over the weekend. Might take a shot down the shore for a day, Saturday or Sunday, just to get down there and do something.
Cool.
Yeah, nothing major, but I'm looking forward to the barbecue with Sig and Alex's on Thursday.
What about you, Johnny John?
Yeah, I'll be I'll get out early Wednesday. I unfortunately have to work Friday and Saturday to make up for the day off. But that day off, I'm going to enjoy wholly. I'm going to the same barbecue at Sig and Alex's. I'm kind of excited. So I'll have fun eating some food, drinking some beers, having some laughs at you guys. And as far as the weekend, when I come home from work Saturday, I just relax, watch the Phillies, just hang out. Short weekend, so just relax.
Yeah, that's nice. I'm doing the same. I'm like Wednesday, I'm like my last day of work, and then Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday taking off. I kind of thought about doing it a little bit longer, but I'm not going to go to any of these games. But I thought it would be cool because, like, I still think you can do, especially Atlanta. Like, they don't even go to the games down there, so it's not like I would have been ripped off. I could have got in for a couple bucks and probably sat wherever the fuck I wanted, which is funny. I'm going to go to some of the comments and see if anyone has questions. Just pour them in and we'll kind of dole them out and touch on them. So let me see where we stopped off. Let's see. Nancy thinks that Zuckerberg is a Mets fan and he's blocking us. We thought about this. I don't think it's. I don't know where this dude's from. Like, I think he's from up in Boston. He went to Harvard or MIT or something.
Fuck the Zuck. Fuck the Zuck.
Let's go fuck with the smart kids. Let's see. Douglas thinks Topper's a good manager, but he plays with fire too much. I kind of wish he would play with fire a little bit more and not be able to fucking, be there. Maybe shoot some fucking fireworks off. I don't know who you'd give the reins to. Do you guys fuck with fireworks?
Do not.
Nah.
I do not fuck with fireworks, man. Listen, alcohol and fucking explosive don't mix, and I'm not fucking not drinking to shoot off some fucking whatever Roman candles. Never happening. Do you work harder for a cool boss or one that's a douche? You know what? I think that this is a great question, and I think there's two parts to it. I think there's like it's inevitably like if someone's cool and like gives you a break here or there, you're going to work harder for them. I think there's people that like they don't give a shit what the boss is because they're still a go-getter and going to do their thing, or they're just pieces of shit and they're not going to do it, whether they're cool or not. They'll take advantage of you. So me, I would rather have someone who's more like a dictator than like someone who's easygoing, because I don't know, I'd probably take advantage of it, just being honest. Yeah, my wife's easygoing. She needs to be like, and at times she is, but like, yeah, she definitely like is like, what the hell? Lost their catch of their future when JT is done. I hated the Ohapi trade. So did the Angels win this if Ohapi's an everyday player and we don't really have an everyday player and we sent, two guys away?
I think it was a trade out of need at the time. Ohapi was blocked. JT still has 2 years left on his deal.
Mm-hmm.
So the Phillies needed an outfielder to help them get over the hump. when they made that deal and Marsh fit the bill. So I don't hate the trade. I think it worked out. The Phils did get over that hump. It's just a shame. Marsh, while he's developed, he's a better hitter today than he was when he first got traded here. He's not the guy that we were hoping for to turn into an everyday player. And O'Hoppe still wouldn't be playing if he was here.
Yeah,
he still wouldn't be. He'd be behind JT for another year or two. So
yeah. Chris says hopefully they can split with the Braves and Dodgers. Chris, I just don't want them to get swept. Like, honestly, like that's like I'm really worried about them just getting their asses handed to them. But if they could split, like that would split on the road with like this fucking bunch of yo-yos, who can't have any offense. I don't know. I don't know. I think a split would be like amazing, but I like the positive thoughts.
I got to tell you that bunt the other day by Marchand, I think that's what they have to do more of, especially with this lineup.
100%.
You got to manufacture runs, and when you get those opportunities, second and third, one out, infield in, you got to score. You got to score because you've lost, 40-something home runs between Harper and Schwarber and Realmuto in that lineup. You're not going to hit bombs. You got to play small ball, hit the sac flies, run the bases well. You got to take every edge you can to score runs, and that bunt was beautiful, worked perfectly, and they end up, turning into 2 runs, which is exactly what you want to see.
Third base, perfect spot. Just well placed, well done, well everything. I loved it.
Yep.
Do you guys know who's pitching? We got Chris asking here.
Let me see if I can find real quick.
So I guess it was Suarez, so that means it's going to be Mercado?
I'm wondering if they're going to skip him. Oh, yeah, Mercado scheduled for tomorrow.
Yeah.
It goes Mercado, then Wheeler.
And then Sanchez?
And then it'll be Sanchez.
Okay.
All right.
You might have to give Mercado some run support for his first time out there, just in case, if you can. And like these lineups lately, I know these couple guys. I know Harper and JT haven't been out too long, but I'm like scared waiting for the Phillies to put their lineup on Twitter. I'm thinking like Cody Ashe or Tommy Joseph's going to pop up on the lineup because that's what it's looking like with all these guys hurt. Like oh, Michael Martinez.
Oh my God. Jordan gives us a little let's go Phillies. Desmond with a happy 4th DPF. Mike, the DH lets you have a no-hit outfielder that saves the runs in the infield. Maybe 1 no-hit outfielder. Right now, I think we have kind of 2.5 of those.
2.5, yeah.
Yeah.
Julie again with back it up, Terry.
Oh yeah.
Terry,
what are you doing, Terry?
John, no need to lose fingers. That's right, because it was that Giants, the New York Giants dude, right? That like blew off half of his fingers.
John, Paul or whatever.
Yes.
Yeah.
I didn't even know they did that in France. You know what I mean? And then John, thanks you for sure. Would take advantage of a cool boss. He's right. I mean, I'm honest. So before we go into wrap up, like I wanted to get your guys' opinion because you can see the tone of the page changes a little bit when we suck, but man, I fucking love it. Like DPF was built on fucking anger, vitriol, and just like making fun of our own team. That's the thing. No one else can say anything about our team that we didn't say first and fucking way more deviously. Chris?
Yeah, I mean, I think, what I like about the page and what I like about us and our personalities is, like, the other day we were ripping Turner. He came up with
it was me. You can say
it. But I was thinking right along with you. Half the time I go to post something like, "Oh, Chris already said he's a turd," so I can't post it as duplicate post. But we'll admit it. We'll roll over and we'll land on our sword 100%. And we'll take it because.
Yep.
I think we're 100% honest. We're 100% legitimate. Our reaction in the moment when he sucks is you suck. And our reaction in the moment when he gets the big hit is attaboy, that's what we needed from you. And that's what you're going to get from DPF. And I think that's our personalities, and that's how we all react. And when we're wrong, we admit it. When we have to fall on our sword, we do. And when a guy's good, who we've ripped for a month, we'll, throw a sexy picture of Casty up and say, hey, he had 4 hits today, and
DPF could just be sexy pictures of Casty, and I'm sure you guys have fucking realized that I'm all right, if he did anything, I'm putting that fucking picture up because the girl is it's 2,000 fucking likes immediately. I could say anything like Rumple Dumple, spam eggs, and
I literally have to make that meme like I have of Turner giving us the double birds for every player, so that every time we rip someone and they get a hit, we can double bird us because we deserve it when we rip them and they come back. Double bird us. You're right. You proved us wrong, and that's what I love. That's what I love about it.
John, were you surprised because you've only been involved when they've been really good, and now finally they're a little bit bad and just fuck this guy, fuck that guy.
I'm snapping with the rest of them, but as Dugan said, we admit when we're wrong, and even with my everybody knows my disdain for Stubbs. Even with Stubbs, I kind of go, I don't come all the way back, but I'm just oh, Stubbs hit a homer, thank you. I don't get hyped about it because I still don't like the guy. But with everybody else, I'm okay, he showed us. One of us will put up a post, this guy couldn't hit this or whatever. And then another at bat later, he hits a home run or a grand slam or he does something great. And we're okay. And then we're all we love him now. We just, that's who it is. That's who we are. And then that's who our people are too. They'll be in the comments oh man, this guy sucked. And then it's then they'll come back. Well, my comment didn't age well.
Right, but you know what? That whole this take didn't age well. That's such a fucking tired comment.
Right.
Honestly, just stick it up your ass. We're doing it in the moment. And if you are saying you didn't feel that, you're not fucking watching the game.
Right.
Seriously.
Your post, was it you or Dugan? One of you guys? I was watching the game and and you said I'm gonna put what everybody's thinking. Rojas should have got that because Marsh was not tracking the ball right that night.
Yeah.
And, I saw 2 go over Marsh's head. Yep. It's I was feeling that, and I look on the page 2 seconds later. I was how did you know?
Yeah. And John, that's a great point. Dawn, hey, what's up, Dawn? We still can't hear your message, so we got to figure that out. I want to hear what you have to say to us. You guys say what we're all thinking. Love it. And it's not everyone, right? But that's the beauty of social media. If you want someone who's always positive or is blowing smoke up your ass, there's 1,000 fucking other places out there. We're not going to do that. That's not us. It's not it's not sunny every day in Phillies world.
Right.
It's just not.
It's not sunny inning from inning sometimes,
Yeah. No, 100% at bat by at bat. Yeah. Mm-hmm. We hate Turner, and then we're that's good. That's when I saw that you gave the double finger one, I was that's perfect. I deserve that. That's right on point. Yeah. Guys, let's talk about 2 things to end the show. Number 1 is just give me a number. How many are the Phillies going to win at the end of the season? What's your prediction? Not in regular season.
I think my original prediction was 97 was where I had them. I think with the injuries, it's probably not going to be quite that high, but I'm going to still put them at 91.
Okay. John?
Yeah, I think I'm one of the ones that's a 97 too. I think a few of us did. Someone said a little lower, but just like Duke. But I'm not gonna go that low. But only a couple more games. I would say 93 for some reason. Just 93 sticks out to me.
I don't remember. Mike wrote them down, but I don't know. My dog ate my homework. I threw it away. I just don't remember. So I'm just going to give kind of what I feel like. I just feel like they can win 30 more games, maybe 40 more games. But I feel like it's closer to 30. So I'm going to say 90 wins. I think they're a 90 win team. I don't think they're a 100 win team. That's a huge difference. I think we're losing these 10 to 15 games, however long Schwarber and Harper are out. I just, we got 55 now, right, guys? Like, I don't know. I think they win 35 more. I just think they're going to be okay. I think it's going to be, we're so happy to see them like not limp from the beginning, and now we're going to kind of see them limp at the end. But like the 80 Phillies did this. They like shit the bed in the middle, and then end of September, they woke the fuck up. That's all I care about. I don't care.
93 kind of had the same, like, kind of after the All-Star break, they kind of, it was getting closer. They were stumbling a little bit, and after starting it, coming out of the gates, flying. So yeah, we've been down this road before, but this is a veteran team. I trust that once we get our guys back, we'll see the Phillies that we saw in May and June, early June, before the injuries hit. I mean, the key is good. The key is going to be the pitching. I mean, Soto came in and pitched great yesterday. He's a guy that they're going to need. Sir Anthony's been better. Kirkring's been great all season. Hoffman looked great in his inning. So those guys are going to be key. Strom has struggled a little bit lately with runners coming in with inherited runners and allowing some base hits. But I'm sure he'll bounce back because he's had a nice season. So I have confidence. As long as the pitching holds up, I think the Phils, they're destined to make another deep run.
Yep. All right. And then the final thing is like more talking about the trade deadline. Let's not talk about money or who's leaving or who's being traded or whatever. Who's the one guy you want? There's a guy out there and like he's your number one target. I want to see him in red Phillies pinstripes come end of July. Dugan, who is it for you?
Oh, I haven't really given much thought, but
okay.
I mean, it's an outfielder. It's a center fielder for me. I don't know who that guy is. I'm not a big Luis Robert or Robert, however hell you say his last name. Not a big fan of his. I mean, he's got power, but I'm not a huge fan of his. I'd like to see more of a contact guy from center field that gives you good defense. Don't know who that guy is. Don't know who's going to be available, but it's that type of player. I think they need maybe like not a top of the lineup guy, maybe like a 7, 8, 9 hitter, but a guy that's going to do all the little things right, to help you win a ball game and play good defense and can be a starter, like almost an everyday guy for them. Okay. I don't think Rojas is yet.
I want Kyle Tucker. I know the Astros have done better, but I just think he's the dude. Like, Astros are not signing him again. They just don't do this. He's not going to be an Astro next year. So I think, like, this dude has won before. That's the thing. That's the ingredient. Like, won before recently, right? It's not someone who is, like, Schwarber's won, whatever it was, X amount of years ago. I just feel like Kyle Tucker, like, he's won consistently. He's won recently. He hits lefties. He hits righties. He's the right position. I don't give a shit if he's hitting left-handed or right-handed, and I know he is a left-hander. And I think he's a tough son of a bitch because he doesn't wear bat and gloves, and I kind of fucking like that.
I was thinking, of course. Oh, my light went out. Sorry. Outfielder, of course. But my thoughts have changed because, like, we're talking about Marsh. Marsh is a little less than great than center field, so my idea wouldn't work. I was thinking more of like a Rooker or like a Rosarena, but there's like a corner outfielder.
Yeah.
Last year, I wish Brian Reynolds stayed disgruntled and they didn't lock him up in a 4-year deal because that's who I wanted last year before the season even started. I wanted us to dive in, send them prospects and grab him and lock him in. But I could go for Kyle Tucker though, definitely. I got the same answer as you, Chris. I don't want Robert. He had a great year last year and he's having a decent year this year, but in years past, he can't stay on the field. So, like, if something happens, that's like, you know what I mean? I know the team control thing and all, but like, I'll take Tucker.
So we love Jimmy. John and I love Jimmy. He also thought Kyle Tucker is the one that he wants. And I'll just kind of give Dawn feel like when they lost JT Harper and Schwarber, it caused some mental damage to the team. So, John, you know about mental damage, right? I mean, Chris, you probably do too. I mean, I'm probably we kind of all do. Let's be honest. inflicted by many different things. It could have been a fall as a kid. Could have been, having a few too many cocktails here and there. But mentally, I do think that takes a toll. But like, I feel like this team should be like, you know what? I want to be the motherfucker that steps up. Do they have that motherfucker that steps up? Do the Phillies have that person on their fucking team other than Bryce Harper that's like, I want the bat in my hands when they need me? Do they have that? I don't know. I don't think so. I mean,
in the early part of the playoffs last year, it was Castellanos,
Yeah.
In that Braves series, it was Castellanos.
Yeah.
He wanted him up at the plate. He was that hot.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully he finds that again, because that would be a nice. It's like as bad as he's been so far, if he's able to find that, it's like that big trade piece that you got at the deadline. If he can play the second half anywhere near like he did in the beginning of those playoffs.
And
I'm calling that Stott too.
Yeah, Hoskins was. I think he's right. Hoskins was. We kind of saw that, but Hoskins' time is passed.
Yeah,
guys, appreciate talking with you. We're going to go around and just give final thoughts here. But again, we're all drinking Philly standards. Appreciate Yards official beer of DPF, the podcast, the garage, etc. So thank you to Yards. Check it out. If they don't have it, wherever you get your beer, ask for it. Trust me, they'll get it in. We love all of the different styles, but particularly the Philly standards beer flavored beer, then the fruit punch, which is just outrageously good. And I trust me, if you're going somewhere for July 4th or just staying home, just pick that up. People are going to love it. John, final thoughts or things you want to share?
I just hope I'm not going to give myself anxiety and look as far ahead as the Dodgers. I'm just going to stay in this week. I hope we could I hope we could steal at least 2 out of 3 versus the Cubs. I would like 2 out of 3 against the Braves. I know we got a mishmash lineup, but I mean, put some more distance between us. Even with the other guys out, like you said, people need to step up. Maybe Casty steps up. Turner, Stott. Bohm keeps doing his thing, so I'm not worried about him.
Yep.
But you need a couple guys that say, you know what, we need to hold down the fort while you guys are out. So yeah. I'm hopeful for a 4-2 week. Let's see what happens with that. It might be tougher with the Braves than the Cubs, but yeah. And I'm kind of mad that the Phillies aren't playing here for the 4th. But what better place to play than Wrigley? I mean, that's going to be cool.
Yeah.
Night, a little afternoon game too. And I just want to say, fuck Monty Hall for bumping my man Steve. I don't even know if Monty Hall's still alive. Is Monty Hall still alive even? I don't know.
It's never fucking bothered before if they're alive or dead, John.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. Fuck Gary Carter, yeah. The fuck Monty Hall. The fuck the Mets, and happy Papa Mania Day.
Yep. Dugan.
So I had a bad day today, fellas. I came out of my house 4:45 this morning to go to work, and my fucking car was gone. My car was stolen from in front of my house, probably by a couple of fucking Mets fans, if I'm being honest. So I need the Phillies to have a good fucking week. I need the Phillies to cheer me the fuck up, because I'm fucking pissed off about it.
Yeah.
So I'm looking for the Phillies to bounce back. Fuck the guys that stole my car. Fuck the Mets. Fuck the guys that stole my car. Fuck Gary Carter. Fuck the guys that stole my car. Go Phils.
You know what? You hate anything with car in it. Gary Carter, Joe Carter, anything that has to do with that.
Yeah. Fucking car thieves.
Yeah. Now, Chris, I'm not saying this is your situation, but I thought my car got stolen once before too, but like I parked it outside of a bar and I just had to walk home. So I don't know if that was part of your situation last night, but check near the local watering hole. It could be still there. I just used the
good advice.
Thing,
it's good advice.
I know it's probably not you, but just I wanted to shed some light. The other thing is I love the 4th of July. I love being American, I love the flag. I hate when people change the flag. I don't think there's a thin blue line flag. I don't think that there's like an Eagles flag where it's like, you know, silver and gold. Like the flag is the flag. So like if you want to do it to make a statement, it's not an American statement. It's the flag is meant to be the flag, you know, 13 alternating red and white stripes, a blue patch in the left-hand corner, and 50 stars. If you want to do the 13 or 48, fuck it, I'm cool with that. The 76 in the middle, that was just my personal feeling. I just wanted to put it out there. And I know it makes Dugan laugh because he always puts up the bats, the fucking bats that are like red and white, and he knows it like fucking like. I'm like, motherfucker, I hate that.
I got
shit.
it all lined up already.
Oh yeah, I'm sure it's like fucking 100%. I look forward to it too because like guys like getting their balls broke, right? Like that's what we do. That's like our saying "I love you" in a guy way. So I would expect nothing less. I'm glad the Phillies are playing on July 4th. There's been times where they haven't on holidays, so it's going to be like a really cool day to be able to like sit around with each other and everyone out there listening or watching or having it on your phone, whatever it may be. So fuck the Braves, fuck the Dodgers, fuck the Cubs, fuck Wrigley, fuck Ivy. And I don't know, maybe we can get 2 out of 3 out there. Then after that, I don't know, guys. Like, you know, I'd be happy with 5. I would be ecstatic with 500. So thanks for tuning in. We'll catch you in, I think it's about a week. It might be a little bit longer. We need an all-star break too, right? So we're going to see who gets chosen. We have John, Dugan, Mike, and myself, and we're kind of see who gets in on the ballot and who gets the manager's choice. So have a good night, everyone. Go Phils.